The other thing you can do is decide that because this particular arising of thoughts in the mind and feelings in the body is so important to you that you want to spend some time looking at it, being aware of it. So you might make that running of the mind the object of your meditation, in which case you're not lost in it, you're observing it. You're using your awareness to watch, observe the running of your mind. Or it might be that you want to focus on the anxiety in your chest, in which case you do the same thing, you watch it. That, in essence, is the mindfulness experience. And in the watching of it, we begin to get aware that we have something, some part of us that is separate. I like to think of it as bigger than the running of the mind or the body, the feelings in the body. And that in that place, again, we have freedom. Now what I'd like to do is tell you a story, a Buddhist story, that covers this territory. It's an interesting story. I think I must have told it to you before. It intrigues me because, again, it has multiple interpretations. And given our focus on don't know mind, it tells us something about that. So it's about a monk. A monk is living in a monastery high up in the mountains, maybe in Tibet, maybe in Japan, but who knows, maybe it's in the Catskills. He doesn't have much money. Got a few other monks living with him. And he sits. And in this story, he's sitting, meditating, when someone breaks in to the building, to the monastery. It's a thief. And the thief has a sword, and the thief says, "Tell me where your money is, or I will kill you, and everybody else." The monk says, "The money is in the kitchen. It's on a shelf above the stove in a ginger jar. Take what you need, but please leave me some money to pay the rent." And the thief goes off and finds the money and does just that. He leaves enough money for the rent. Years later, the thief appears again. But this time, he's in handcuffs and or shackles, and there's a police officer with him. The police officer asks the monk, "Is this the man who stole from? Did this man steal from you?" And the monk says, "No, he didn't steal from me. He asked for some money and I gave it to him." And so the thief was freed and decided to stay and study with the monk. So that's the story. Can be interpreted in a variety of ways. In one way, the thief feels he can trust the monk and so decides to stay. In another way, the monk is just hoping that he can hold on to enough money to pay for the rent so that he'll be able to hold on to his monastery. But I think that there's another way, which is very intriguing given our study, which is that this was a very special monk. He was in the don't know mind. he didn't come to that situation as it quickly emerged before him. He didn't come to it with ideas or concepts. He didn't think, this is a thief, this will always be a thief. There's nothing I can do to help this. He's just attacking me. I've got to use whatever force I have to get rid of him. He didn't do that. He was presented with a man who needed something. And he said, okay, this is where it is. Now note, he didn't say to the man, take the whole thing. He said, leave me some. That's a kind of, if you will, a koan, a problem that he presents to this thief. And if this thief understands it, this thief will be free of what is his own identity. And indeed, that's what happens. So the monk comes from the don't know mind. The thief gets freed enough from his own entrapment, his own concept of who he is, so that he enters into the don't know mind, and in the moment leaves the money. And then he decides to stay, because he is finding something in that situation, in that relationship, that promises him a different identity. So it's an example of the don't know mind. Allowing yourself to be fresh to experience and to see what emerges. Remember now, there is material that emerges in the don't know mind, but it's intuitive. It's not from the head. It's seeing the tree and sensing its presence, not thinking, this is a oak tree, I wonder what diseases it might have, etc. That's important information, but not all the time. So we have two approaches now to our psychological work. One is the just is experience, being like the tree, without any thoughts, without any feelings, and the don't know, particularly to come from an intuitive place, not from any ideas or thoughts.